What's growing on, gardeners? Today's 2-Minute Garden Tip is a huge announcement. After 11 years, the USDA has updated their hardiness zone maps for the United States, and there are massive changes. While a significant portion of the country has remained unchanged, massive portions have been upgraded to a warmer hardiness zone. A lot of people have been upgraded to half a hardiness zone. Some locations I've even seen upgraded an entire hardiness zone. In fact, where I'm at in Wilmington, North Carolina, we have been upgraded from Zone 8A to Zone 8B. So down in the video description, I will link to the USDA's website where you can input your location. There is a strong probability you have been moved into a warmer hardiness zone. This map update has so many people excited because their hardiness zones have been upgraded and they're thinking about all the new things they can plant now that they are located in a warmer zone. But I'm here to tell you, don't be fooled. That kind of thinking is a mistake, and here's why. Hardiness zones do not take into account average temperatures. They only take into account one data point, your annual minimum temperature. Then, according to the USDA, they use that annual minimum data point from the past 30 years per the weather station points on the map. And then they use computer software to interpolate the data in between. So everything we're basing our hardiness zones on is only 30 individual data points, and then the computer guesses what happens in between those individual weather stations where the information is collected. So because hardiness zones are based on 30 years of data, the previous 2012 maps predominantly use data from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. This update uses data from the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, and that is where the problem lies with this hardiness zone map update. The problem is that most of the absolute minimum temperatures ever recorded in the United States took place in the 1980s, specifically 1985 and 1989. These absolute record lows were included in the 2012 hardiness zone maps, but they have been eliminated from this most recent update because now the super cold 1980s data is gone. And this is the predominant reason why many of us have been upgraded in terms of hardiness zones. We got rid of these record minimums that were skewing the data previously. And because hardiness zone maps are only comprised of 30 data points, when you remove 2 or 3 record minimums, you're going to have your zones boosted dramatically. And that is what we're seeing happen with this most recent update. So my point in all of this is don't be fooled. Temperatures have been very consistent over the past 30 years. Nothing has changed. We're not being moved into continually increasing hardiness zones. So don't get greedy with what you're planting. All we did was we removed those extreme outliers that were skewing things to make it look colder than it really is. And I promise you, this is not the last time we will see those record temperatures. It's been pretty mild for the most part in most of the country over the last 30 years, but we are due. And I'm sure many of you watching this in Texas that just had your recent outliers in 2021, you can probably speak for most of us. It's only a matter of time until we have those new minimums set. I'm not saying don't try and push your hardiness zone. I'm one of the OGs when it comes to zone pushing on YouTube by all the citrus that I'm growing in ground here in North Carolina. I'm simply stating, understand why our maps are being upgraded. It's not because our average lows are increasing. It is because we're eliminating the extreme outliers from the 1980s that was suppressing the maps and making them artificially cold. So for you folks on Hilton Head Island that just saw your zone get raised from 8B to 9B, don't plant that mango tree just yet unless you're going to intensely and intently protect it. And that's today's 2-Minute Garden Tip.
If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.